back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ITTF Seamaster 2017 World Tour Platinum German Open, coming to you live from Magdeburg, Germany. I'm your commentator, Adam Vavro. We get into another round of 16 men's singles match. That's Marcos Freitas from Portugal, blowing out the hair in the front, and a player I personally would love to welcome back, the Cloud Walker, Xu Xin from China. One of the most spectacular players, if not the most spectacular player you can watch in the modern game in table tennis. He's as fast as they come. He can reach just about everything. He loves to use his forehand with that big swing. And he's got an unpredictable backhand as well. It produces some very impressive shots, but the consistency factor is going to be questionable on his backhand side. Now, Marcos Freitas, again, the leader of the pack from Portugal, has dipped to world rank number 19 despite being in the top 10. Now, a little bit of table tennis fun facts for you here. Simon Gauzy recently breaks into the top 10. He's number 8 in the world currently. Very exciting for France, very exciting for Simon Gauzy personally, and for his table tennis club, Ochsenhausen, here in Germany. And as you look at the standings here, you can see who's racing, by the way, for the World Tour Grand Finals. Harimoto on the list, Samsonov, Fan Zhendong, Lin Gaoyuan, many of these players here. Simon Gauzy, right there at the bottom of that top 8 it appeared. So if I'm not mistaken, everybody except Ma Long here trying to collect points, trying to secure themselves a place, but the standings of course require you to play in just enough tournaments and just enough continents so that you are around the world and playing. Stefan Löffler there, German umpire, and our assistant umpire with him, Andreas Koch, officiating the match. So Simon Gauzy breaks into the top 10. When was the last time a European broke into the top 10 for the first time? For me, if memory serves, it was Marcos Freitas coming into world rank number 7, breaking into the top 10, climbing in. But before that, try to think of the player who broke in most recently. I was talking with the coaches, and Dima was the name that came to mind. I'm sure there are a lot of table tennis trivia nuts out there, people who really specialize in this type of stuff. On an Ian Martian, he's out of this world with his knowledge. Ian Marshall, rather, who is the encyclopedia for table tennis. I don't think I'll be forgetting that I just said that anytime soon. It might be the new nickname around the ITTF peeps. But we've got 2 left-handed players here. The shake hands grip, which seems to be the way of the future, and Xu Xin, one of 2 top-level pen holders in the game right now. The other one is on the court next to him, playing against another Portuguese up-and-coming player, or maybe someone who's right around his peak. On the other table is Thiago Apollonia versus Wang Chunting, the number 2 pen holder in the world. Xu Xin was number 3 in the world before he dropped out of the rankings, and with the new world ranking system coming into play, there's a lot of speculation about it. I think a lot of people, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it doesn't reward you for who you beat. So whether you beat Xu Xin in the round of 16, or whether you beat Thiago Apollonia, it's all the same that you made it to the quarterfinal. Points are awarded based on your position in the specific tournament, and they will renew. Basically, your points won't last as long as before, which will encourage players and require players, if they want to keep their world ranking, to be more active on the World Tour, playing more tournaments. So you can imagine Japan will definitely climb in the world rankings because they've been participating so much. And I think the overall point of this is to make sure that you, the fans at home, get to see the best players in the world more and more often on the World Tour, that you can depend when you turn on the TV and you see a table tennis table, seeing Ma Long, seeing Fan Zhendong, seeing Xu Xin, seeing Timo Boll and Dima, seeing all the names, the faces, and the games that you love to watch, you're just going to be that much more confident you'll get to see them. Marcos Freitas looking to make his world ranking quite improved and take a big victory here. Xu Xin, the more powerful of the 2 players, the faster of the 2 players, but Marcos Freitas tactically quite gifted at narrowing down the opponent's weaknesses. Now the speed of Xu Xin and also the confidence over the table is going to force Marcos Freitas to try and do just the same. Make his receives very precise, get in with flips early. Now tactically playing out wide to the forehand. I remember Koki Miwa in his interview, the Asian Championships, after beating Xu Xin, a very rare occasion for a foreigner to beat Xu Xin. Although it's happened a few times in the last few years, still pretty uncommon. Playing out wide to the forehand early in the point was one of his main tactics. And here the length of the serve not leaving a lot of room for Shuxin. Now again with the pen hold grip, a little bit less concern about hitting the table, at least with your hand, but even with the racket. If you do clip the table, you have to pull out a spare. Might not play quite the same. You don't want to have to use your spare. Very deep serve here with that reverse pendulum, and FREITAS ties it up. Neither player has failed to convert their serve to a point so far. There's the placement, deep into the backhand corner. If Shuxin's turning early, that's going to be a deadly forehand coming back. But FREITAS, again, right at the table, is going to be in a good position to control the point. Such a smooth forehand flip, and because he's right there at the back of the table, he's in position with good timing. See Wang Hao in the corner, loosening the collar for a bit. Very light rotation on that serve and a perfect read. Not only does Marcos Freitas have an excellent ability to identify his opponent's weaknesses, he also has incredible feeling. His touch, you can see trick shot videos of him. Just for years and years, he's been doing all sorts of amazingly impressive tricks with his racket. And this is tough. Earlier in the point, as soon as he starts backing off and playing a defensive shot, Shuxin's got time for that big forehand. It's pretty rare you see anyone lob down or even fish down Shuxin. There's that deep angle, wide to the backhand. It'll break off the net for Shuxin. He converts the point to tie it up. A little apology there, acknowledging his fortune. Gotta love that forehand stroke. One of the most spectacular things about Shuxin is when he gets behind the table, when he starts introducing the side spin, and you see him chasing the ball, hitting on the run. Ooh! And that big stroke takes a little bit of time to recover. Leaves Shuxin scratching his head. Ball comes right back. And if it's not on the baseline, Shuxin will have another shot. But FREITAS, perfect placement under pressure. Fast long serve pays off. Tied right back up. Shuxin being coached by one of the most legendary pen holders in the modern game from China. Strong list of pen holders, of course, coming from China, between Liu Goliang, Ma Lin, Wang Hao. Deep on the table again, FREITAS with the placement. The focus from Marcos Freitas, really to make these shots. Some people might say, oh, Shuxin's not playing his best. I guess who's ever playing their best? It's pretty rare, but still, Marcos Freitas is really making it a challenge right now. Soft touch for Shuxin. Right back in, second towel break of the game, dead even. Now, just in case you were curious, in the last round you saw Dmitry Ovtcharov 4-0 over Yan'an. He will be waiting for the winner of Thiago Apollonia and Wang Chunting. Now, these two players you're watching now are on the other side of the bracket. Marcos Freitas and Shuxin will be waiting for the winner of Jun Mizutani and Lee Sang-soo. Smart play, neither player afraid there. It was Freitas who stayed calm, waited for the opportunity to speed it up. But when he did speed it up, he changed the placement, plays it a little bit on the forehand side, and Shuxin has to turn for that backswing. Beautiful stroke again, wide to the forehand. Every time Freitas takes the lead, Shuxin's right there to chase. Endgame has a lot to do, not only, I would say mostly, with mental. Tactics, confidence. See how the players handle under pressure here. With the change of placement down the line, still Shuxin, the cloud walker, just walks over to it. Loops it back. Not a lot of backstroke on that one. Almost completely lateral movement to get the racket out and take that forehand stroke. looked like a volunteer, maybe a worker, had walked right through the eyesight, right behind the court for a moment of Xu Xin, which is why he said, give me a minute. Oh, beautiful backhand. And when you talk to a lot of the Chinese players, Marcos Freitas, one of the better backhands in Europe from a consistency standpoint, and from being a threat off the table. You know, of course, you've got Darko Jorgic coming up right now, Jakub Diaz, a lot of other strong backhands, Simon Gauzy, but Freitas very consistent in his backhand shot. But against Xu Xin, it's rarely going to have the pace to finish the point, especially if he's behind the table. So taking it from in near the table is going to be big key, I think, for Marcos Freitas. Xu Xin now in the lead by 1. Just behind the table, just long, it doesn't come down, and Xu Xin with 2 game points. Third towel break of the game. Now, when you see Xu Xin moving as fast as he is, it's partially because Freitas is hitting a shot that's a more clear decision for Xu Xin. Xu Xin seemed a little bit slower early in the match, early in game 1 here. Freitas was surprising him with the placement, leaving some question in his mind. Softer spinning ball, not sure if it was a missed contact, but the apology from Xu Xin in game 1 goes to the Cloudwalker, 11-8 over Marcos Freitas, and we'll be back for game 2 right after this. Time called, and the players back at the table here, coming back to the table for game 2. In the replays, the highlights between the games, you had a chance to see Xu Xin's last backhand of the game, that very wristy reverse penhold backhand. For those of you a little bit newer to table tennis, penhold is a common English term for Xu Xin's grip of the racket, where shake hands is Marcos Freitas. Traditional penhold backhand only used one side of the racket. The reverse penhold backhand is what you will see Xu Xin using. There's rubber on both sides of the racket. One way to make sure that he doesn't have to cover the whole table with his forehand, keep him in position better. After Sweden, quite a strong run against China and the penhold grip. Outstanding point. The finish goes to Xu Xin here in the counter loop rally, but from off the table, Freitas not afraid to counter right back in on the backhand side. And as exciting as those points will be to watch, Marcos Freitas is going to be on the losing end of it more often than Xu Xin when he's behind the table. Xu Xin seems to be a little bit looser out here in game 2 than the start of game 1. A bit more deception on the serve, a bit more racket speed on his strokes. There it is. Freitas still almost keeps it down, racket head way up high to try and stay on top of that ball. There's the angle, one off balance from the backhand side in the follow-up. Coach Kong Guoping right there. He's been working with Marcos Freitas and the team for some time. Or at least Marcos Freitas anyway. That one goes down, Freitas' points. Tied up at the first towel break there. Xu Xin fans with their signs in the crowd. Definitely nice to see a few different names from the Chinese national team on some sides. Again, whenever Zhang Jike is playing a tournament, the hotel is filled with fans from around the world who hail from China, waiting for their chance to see the man that is the wallpaper on their cell phone. And from a coaching standpoint, I think a lot of people forget the players, they're playing for their career. These results determine their career, but the same can be said for the coaches. They feed themselves with the results of their players. Ooh, almost. Xu Xin anticipates well. FREITAS quality shot near the net. But I was thinking about that, watching Wang Hao clap. I mean, this is also a test for him. If he can bring success to his players, this is good for his career as well. Beautiful timing right off the bounce. FREITAS playing some risky shots. And to let you know how these players got here, Xu Xin beat Yuya Oshima yesterday 4-2. And it wasn't easy. I think it was the last match of the night, if I remember correctly. Yep. Xu Xin was quite well tested. Yuya Oshima, one of many strong players from Japan who had an incredible tournament, and since then has had a little bit more quiet of a career. Very loose backhand from FREITAS, but this is how it goes, right? Sometimes you have a breakout performance, and it's just worlds above the rest of your, I'd say, playing for maybe the year before. And after that, it quiets down a little bit. You're playing fine, but no shocking results. FREITAS getting up to world rank number 7 and dipping a bit. Yesterday, beat Tomokazu Harimoto 4-2. And it could have gone either way. Early in the match, it was very, very close. And the crowd going quite crazy here. For the results, Thiago Apollonia versus Wang Chunting. Leave some suspense for you? Okay, you convinced me, I will. FREITAS froze it in the backhand corner. It's the power of a fast, long serve with good placement here. Some of our sponsors there on table 1. Of course, Seamaster being a huge sponsor for the World Tour, title sponsor. Now, this was right around the point in game 1 where Xu Xin started to break away. This is where FREITAS needs to really stay focused. Marcos Freitas, as strong as he is, as I mentioned before, about identifying the opponent's weakness and coming back to win in game 7, here his chances are going to be a little slimmer. So establishing himself early, again playing the timing. I don't think it's that much of a secret. Timo Boll has been the most effective player outside of China against the Chinese in over a good decade or so. Oh, after a beautiful backhand like that, Xu Xin keeps it deep on the table. FREITAS from in near tries to play it one more from the backhand. So loose there. It also looks like he tried to put a bit of inside-out spin on it, which makes it even tougher to contact the ball. A little bit less surface area, facing the direct trajectory of the ball coming in. It's a very smart pattern here from Xu Xin. Bring him in over the table, middle forehand side, something he can't flip with power, and then play it deep to the backhand corner. It takes the legs out from underneath. Forces Marcos Freitas to be chasing a little bit. And then it pushes him to take a shot. If he's got the opportunity, that's going to be a very effective shot. A forehand flip will take away Xu Xin's powerful third ball if it's that fast. But to hit it that hard on a quality low serve, just also not even considering the spin on the ball, still those factors already make it that tough for Freitas. So again, the spinny backhand. Xu Xin looking down, not happy with the contact, checking the rubber. Oh, and a break off the top. dribbling over for several bounces on the table. No chance for Shushin to recover that ball. So coming into the towel break with some fortune, Marcos Freitas really needs game 2 here. So the applause from the crowd, continuing to pump up their European, I think a little bit of continental support here. Shushin drawing the ball in the pocket with the serve. Good length here, a bit of backspin to keep it inside the baseline, keep it over the table, and Freitas has to reach out in front, doesn't get in quite enough, but you can understand he's been punished the last few times he's gone in too far. It just gives him more space to recover, coming back to that backhand corner, and now game point for Shushin. Oh, service error. Now, as cool and calm as Shushin is, he is the one player I've seen miss more serves in a single match than any player anywhere near his caliber. I think it was 6 in a row, not 6 in a row, but 6 in the same match. Either way, deuce here in game 2. Smart play, confident patience. I know it sounds tricky to put these terms together, but confident patience from Marcos Freitas. He doesn't go for the rip. He just keeps it soft to the backhand so that Shushin has to reach out in front and can't counter. Says, nah, you want the ball, come here and get it. I'm not going to give it to you. So Freitas with 2 in a row saves a game point, earns one of his own. Forehand flip does not come down. Second time we've seen it attempted under pressure. This time for me was a better opportunity than the one before. Freitas was struggling, trying to find some answers the time before this that he went for it. It also adds to the pressure that Shushin's moving that way. Getting ready for a counter. Second deuce point this game. It's a risky shot. Shushin right at the back of the table, tries to play it down the middle. If it comes down, going to be a very difficult ball, but opportunity again. Second game point for Marcos Freitas. Freitas, the freight train they call him. Can the comeback train continue to take game 2? Drawing the ball in his pocket, but the game is definitely not in his pocket, not yet. Almost gets that one. Difficult ball when it's that close to the net. Shushin under pressure creates the angle. Still not an easy shot. The ball's low there for Shushin. Fourth towel break, and the only score possible, 12-12. I guess at 13-11, the towel break's a full minute long. Look at where that ball bounces, very shallow. Shushin has to get the racket head up for a very flat-looking stroke, but still have a closed racket to keep the spin on the ball. Ensure that it comes down on the table. Deeper push, but it bites the table and stays in a little bit. It looked like it was coming long, and Shushin with a confident, wind-whirling forehand stroke. Step around way back. One of the longest strokes in table tennis. Shushin's arm almost completely straight back behind his left leg. Third game point for Marcos Freitas. And a brilliant receive right into the body. He takes the game 14-12, a turnaround. The freight train has got coal in the engine, and it's tied up 1 game apiece. We'll be back for game 3 to see who takes the lead in this left-handed southpaw fight. Game number 3 coming up after this. Folks, back for game number 3. Freitas cleaning the table, and then his forehead with the same towel there. Hygienic? Not necessarily. Superstitious? Probably also not, but could keep him connected with the table. Xu Xin to start off game 3. And this receive leaves a bit to be desired for Marcos Freitas. Quality serve. Again, the level of deception so strong at this level. To fool Marcos Freitas takes a whole lot, but Xu Xin has shown that he can do it. And 2 in a row here. That one's going to be a much, say, more comfortable shot for Freitas to use the backhand on, despite the positioning, simply because he can generate so much more spin with the backhand over the table. Parallel shot. Second time we've seen Xu Xin looking at the racket. This does, as we say in English, tend to be one of his quirks, though. Xu Xin likes to look down at the racket after missing a shot. Win or lose. After losing the point or missing a shot, he'll look down at the racket, but I don't find it to be a clear indicator of the outcome of the match. Certain players fall into habits, and then after that, they end up losing the match, which you might think would pressure them to really try and avoid doing that. You know, Marcos Freitas missing that shot, but I love the fact that he's going for it. This is someone who's determined and understands he can't play the comfortable shot. He can't go into fishing and back off the table. He's got to play it quick off the bounce. He's got to keep the racket head up and use Xu Xin's spin and speed. But quite a different start to game number 3. Xu Xin, after losing game 2, leading 5-1 at the first towel break. Shovel-like serve, not as low as the contact we see from many of the Chinese and Japanese women. Xu Xin contacting the high toss on the way down. A little bit closer to the head, but still a little less backswing. Shovel serve, a lot of players pull the elbow behind the side of the body to come into it, and it's tough to tell how much rotation with the side spin is on it, whether it's under, bit of top with variance. Footwork, Xu Xin gets all the way around for that confident forehand. Apollonia texting. I think if you haven't already heard the results, maybe Apollonia can text you there. The leg strength, the quads of Xu Xin. He's not alone. The Chinese national team definitely believes in physical fitness. Oh, is on the line as they come. The touch shot from down below the table around the net. Now, both of these players have incredible feeling. But for Marcos Freitas from down below the table to play this shot, Xu Xin reading it, anticipating, and still keeping pressure on, but Freitas right there to finish. Forehand flip. On the checklist, the percentages are going to be pretty low for Marcos Freitas in that forehand flip game. Xu Xin actually very strong over the table when he plays the forehand flip. If he steps around, though, when he has to come off the side of the table on the backhand side, up in near the net, it's where he seems to be the strongest in his forehand flip. This is a receive that we just don't see from so many people. Even though it was a let receive, Xu Xin will do that ball similar to the strawberry and play it wide out to Freitas' forehand. Just shaking my head in disbelief here. Again, the first few shots of this rally, so strong and so fast, and Freitas a little bit quicker to get to the ball. He's not backing off. He's moving directly to the side, taking it with both feet in the air there on the run. But when he comes down, he manages to contain his body weight, stay balanced. It's not easy to do. This is insurance in case the rally keeps going. Parallel again, Freitas looks up. When you make a shot like this, it becomes a little bit personal. It's almost like you want your opponent to know, I'm here and I'm prepared to make these shots. You're going to have to worry about this time and time again. It's almost animalistic, but these little body language signs here, the eye contact, does send a message to the opponent. Which is one of the reasons you'll hear from some of the best players in table tennis, not to show your emotion or disappointment when you're out there. Xu Xin had trouble reading the characters, despite the fact that the font was probably 280, taking up the whole iPad there, whatever brand the tablet was. So 1 point between them still. There it is, the forehand flip that Marcos Freitas has been waiting for. Now the positioning on the table, this is much more like Xu Xin prefers. The left-handed players, both of them, seem to really like that ball on the backhand side of the table to flip with their forehand. I think partially because they're working with gravity a little bit more instead of having the arm out. This is a break for me. From down 1-5, Marcos Freitas has some opportunities, manages to come right back into the game. How do we explain this? Look at the depth on the table. I'd love to compliment Marcos Freitas here. Maybe it's partially that there's good grip on the table, the ball's not skipping, so the rotation makes it bite. But Xu Xin had clear space for that shot. Wow. So Freitas once again coming back. Comes back to take game 2 as a very slow start. You'd say starts on the wrong foot. Third towel break of the game, has 2 game points. He's got a 2-1 lead. This puts a lot of pressure, not just on Xu Xin, but the entire corner. Wang Hao, Xu Xin will essentially be the team from China, working hard to come back and figure out what it's going to take. You can understand the disappointment from Freitas. Such a strong surprise serve. That reverse pendulum long to the backhand corner. He gets a third ball opportunity. Not a gift, not an easy one, but easier than many shots we've seen him make here today. Second game point with the second serve for Freitas. Oh, just doesn't get wide enough. Expects it in on the body at the elbow. And his feet were a little bit planted against Xu Xin. You don't have a lot of time. One on the body. The second one just wasn't the stroke he was looking for, so 2 game points saved. Now Xu Xin with the serve. As you might recall, last game was quite a chase here after deuce, alternating serves from here on out in game 3. This is the right shot, and I think the right tactic for Freitas. Plays it so deep to the backhand. Hindsight is 20/20. It's easy to say now, well, maybe he should have waited a little longer, of course, because he missed the ball. But had he waited longer, Xu Xin's likely to chase down the ball when it's played right down the line. So game point to Xu Xin. 4 in a row for Xu Xin to take a huge game here and save the game and take the lead. Instead of being down 1-2, Xu Xin comes back to the corner with a bit of confidence, a bit of relief, and one more game in his pocket. Game number 4 coming up right after this. So back for game number 4. Marcos Freitas is going to have to compose himself here. This is the life of a professional athlete. It's not all success, not all the time. For every great comeback, there's somebody on the other side of the table who lost a great lead. Xu Xin managed to recover his lead from up 5-1 early, take the game. I feel like sports, such a great analogy for life, but rolling with the punches, learning how to come back after times are tough. Marcos Freitas determined to do just that. Not a bad start, converts both of his serves. Unusual position for Xu Xin. Wow. Takes the heat, turns it right back, just deflecting the ball down the line. Tough to tell who had the advantage here from a positioning standpoint. Now, one thing I will say is I think Xu Xin's confidence in the backhand game is going to be crucial to his improvement. Let service. Oh, a ball came in from the other court. Jun Mizutani and Lee Sang-soo playing on the side table. This is such a difficult shot. Now, while we've seen Xu Xin miss that one ball in slow motion that looked like it's quite puzzling what it was that caused the disruption or made Xu Xin miss, this last ball is going to be tough to make every time. Freitas with the timing. It's that risky shot off the bounce, that backhand where he sends Xu Xin back to the backhand corner. It's the toughest shot in this rally, but it pays off. Forehand to forehand counter loops, yes sir. But that backhand there puts Xu Xin on the defense, creates a little bit of space, and buys Marcos Freitas some more time to get in control. He does not want to get in the forehand battle too long. If he's there, he wants to get out, force Xu Xin to play a different card. Oh, back edge of the table. But still credit to Xu Xin for turning the corner and playing it deep. Little fortune, but he does everything right. Fortune favors the bold. Luck favors the prepared. I don't know if I'm making stuff up here, but it sounds reasonable to me. Xu Xin trailing by 2 after the first towel break with the serves on his side. Smart start from Marcos Freitas. It's a powerful forehand loop, blocks it deep back to the backhand corner. As much as Xu Xin loves to take the forehand from the backhand corner, after that first one, he's typically going to be ready to cover that wide forehand. Oh, second service error for Xu Xin. If you've got your chalkboard at home, if people still use those, that's 2 tally marks on the service error side for Xu Xin, still relatively early in the match. I guess about midway through. Not the first time we've seen some frustration, a little bit of emotion showing on the side of Marcos Freitas in terms of missing shots. I think it was Waldner who just really didn't believe in letting your opponent know when you were unhappy. Excellent patience. Freitas waits, moves his feet to get in position, and sees where Xu Xin goes before playing that ball. Instead of playing it onto the body, realizes he has a chance to play it wide out to the forehand. A break again. It's not the first time we've seen this. I'm trying to remember, there have been a few fortunate net balls, but I think Marcos Freitas has had a few more than Xu Xin. That is a camera. That looks like a water bottle turned sideways with a lens on it. Man, fans are getting better and better. Okay, Marcos Freitas up by 4 points. Second towel break of the game. Got a kick on that second backhand. Now, Shushin, in developing his backhand, will create a lot of different, I'd say, opportunities for himself. But one, we know with his reverse penhold backhand that he can generate a lot of spin, and he's confident to take the shot. He's also confident blocking and countering. And that was the backhand that won game one for Shushin, that spinny ball, but instead of 8-6, it's 9-5. Marcos Freitas in a much better position. See how close the racket was. For those of you newer to table tennis, the angle of the racket over the ball. Perfectly placed right on the elbow, gets Marcos Freitas bending out of the way. Like the inflatable flailing car salesman. It's a long name, I forgot exactly what it is, but it's what the waist has to do sometimes when the shot's played into the elbow. 2 big points for Shushin, and Freitas is really going to have to grab the steering wheel here if he wants to take this game. Being down 1-3 against Shushin, it's not a likely situation for many. Shushin has stolen wins from many, from Junmi Zutani, from Lin Gaoyuan, but rarely does he leave it unlocked. Does someone else steal from him? Beautiful shot the other way, misleading with the upper body and playing the parallel shot for the winner. Freitas with 3 game points. Last game he had 2 and it wasn't enough. Will 3 be enough? He's got the serve on his side as well. Parallel shot with the step around forehand, and Marcos Freitas ties it up at 2 games apiece. Wang Hao on his feet, ready for a conversation with Shushin. And Coach Kong Guoping in the corner of Marcos Freitas, looking to keep the train moving. Game 5, Marcos Freitas versus Shushin, coming up right after this. Back for game number 5, the tradition of cleaning off the table and going to the face, and now the neck as well. For Marcos Freitas, it's not superstition. He wants a clean bounce on the table. Again, for those of you newer to table tennis, sometimes, whether it's dust particles, edges of the racket, the rubber coming off on the table, again, clearing it, just making sure. Clean, smooth bounce, a little bit more confidence in your timing. Oh, speaking of timing, set your alarm clock for that shot. He was ready to rock from the start, right off the bounce. Again, following in the footsteps of Timo Boll, taking the ball on the rise. Really just using his body weight well there. Relatively short stroke is necessary for that timing. Let's serve. Freitas calling it as fast as you can for a long serve. Very faint, but Shushin also raising his finger. Shushin, very fair sportsman. Even generous, I would say. Inside out. He's such a lovable guy, Shushin. I saw him, I think it was the Korea Open, maybe 2015. He hit a shot so low around the net that the umpire simply didn't notice that it hit the table. It was in the early rounds, and he played the point again, said, no problem, my opponent can have it, and won the match. Won that game right after. Good angle here from Freitas, the flexible wrist. In terms of wrist strength, when you think about all the different parts of the body that are really working, of course, quads so important in table tennis, but wrist flexibility and wrist strength, to be able to change direction at the last moment like that, surprises are priceless out here. Shushin with that full stroke right into the elbow. Germany definitely loves their table tennis. For the Timo Boll Simon Gauzy match, that was standing room only. I think we'll see some more of the same. Dmitry Obtrov and Timo Boll still both in the tournament. Had a chance to see Vladimir Samsonov last night before leaving, to see him in Kazakhstan. We will see. Oh, beautiful counter once again. Freitas just rocked back. Very short backswing, and his timing, he's playing fearlessly. Occasionally he misses the shot, but you know what? You have to write those off sometimes. It's a bit of a tax break here. Something that, little collateral damage, but the risk pays off. You can see the fans in the crowd, hands on the head, thinking, oh no, it's gonna be tough. It's even scary for the fans. Soft hands of Shushin there to leave it over the table. Freitas cleaning the table, whether the bounce was funny or not. Sometimes it's a psychological thing. Makes the player feel like they're still intact, they're still sharp. Oh, if this comes down, it's in the top 10 for sure. Incredible point. Shushin, look at the charm on that guy. After a point like this, spinny backhand with a lot of pace on it, edge ball recovered to the short side. This point just outstanding from both players. Who knows, it could still be in the top 10. Note to self. So Freitas ties it up with a lot of footwork there. But again, that backhand has saved him so many times. And two in a row. The first one spinnier, he arches the back, and then the follow-up is a rip off the side of the table. From down low. Wow, Marcos Freitas. Forget world rankings. There's no question watching him play right now that he's improved. And the same with yesterday when he played Harimoto. Harimoto, remember, beat Timo Boll to be the world's youngest World Tour winner. Not that long ago, the Czech Open. Shushin. That was my limited one-way interaction with the fans in the crowd to ask who they were supporting. Looks can be deceiving. You never know. They could have been the four officers of the Marcos Freitas fan club. But if we are playing the odds here, Shushin in the lead by one on the receive. Second serve for Freitas. That's a tough one. Deep to the backhand corner. In this fast pace of play, just a little bit wider to the backhand, and Freitas isn't going to be able to get the racket over the ball as quickly. Let's see if we can see it here. First one, second one. Freitas setting up to the middle, shakes his head, yes, okay. Recognized his pattern earlier. Looked like he was blowing his nose in his towel there between the games. You have to wonder, it is quite cold outside. I think raining today. But when you're on the world tour, it's not just like you're playing locally, you're playing all over the world. Players in and out of different weather all the time. So all sorts of health being required from them. Not just physical strength, but knowing how to stay healthy in different climates. Avoiding jet lag quickly, getting ready. Again, after this tournament, many of the players are going to Sweden. This is right for Freitas. He misses the shot, but this is what he has to do. If he fishes forever, if he starts lobbing and playing defense, the point is most surely going to go to Shushin. So just looking for that opportunity to counter with the backhand and then turn around and get the forehand into play. Forehand flip there to start his comeback. 3 points between the two. Wouldn't be surprised to see a timeout if Freitas gets one more point. Both players have had their time drawing the ball now to make sure. Oh, beautiful, perfect shot. This one, okay, you've got the line of the table again to sneak it past Xu Xin on the forehand side. This is risky, it's dangerous, and it's the type of thing that has to happen quickly if you want to get away with it. Marcos Freitas giving us a perfect demonstration of that. No timeout called. Is it now? Is there going to be a timeout? I'm watching Wang Hao. He claps. He says, Xu Xin, you can do this. Wang Hao, more experienced, knows the game quite well, believes that now is not the time. But Xu Xin can win this game without the timeout. Save it for an emergency. What if there's a game 7? Oh, had the idea. Xu Xin started turning the corner. He leaves open the forehand side, and Freitas with the opportunity there. Again, not as easy as it looks. We see the open spaces. Marcos Freitas has to see the serve perfectly before the contact. Very uncomfortable ball, especially with your body turned the way it was, which is part of the reason Xu Xin turns the corner. He sees Freitas' body. He's confident with his serve. 2 game points now for Xu Xin. Extra spin on that loop, the pace right off the bounce, and it takes the game. 11-8, Xu Xin in the lead now, 3 games to 2. 1 game away from moving on. And Wang Hao was right, no timeout needed. We'll be back. Game number 6 coming up right after this. Back for game number 6, Marcos Freitas cleaning not only the table, but of course the top sheet of rubber on his racket as well. Making sure the palm is dry, wiping the sweat near the net on the table, drying the ball and getting ready, because if he wants to win this match on the way, he has to win this game. Solid start. First point to Freitas. That backhand is so clean. It feels like just yesterday I was sitting down with Marcos Freitas in Poland before his Ask a Pro Anything and talking to him about his game. And he said the one thing he was working on the most was his backhand. Even if he could win 1 more point a game, even a match with that backhand, he's making progress, making improvements. Sometimes it's not easy to feel like you're making an improvement. People want to see big results right away. It takes time, it takes work. Noticing the subtle details. Xu Xin's so quick to turn that corner, one of his signature shots. Not so often we see Xu Xin playing left-handed players. A very memorable win for him over Lin Gaoyuan from down 5-10 at the World Championships in Germany earlier this year. Lin Gaoyuan has definitely had some tough losses in 2017. So Xu Xin playing smart into the body, forcing Marcos Freitas into an uncomfortable backhand shot. Not uncomfortable in the sense that he's afraid. Oh, a timeout on the towel break. Not too often we see this. The body language to me said timeout, but then I thought, well, it's a towel break, maybe not. So interesting how you can tell when someone's getting ready for a conversation. Their breathing changes, their posture changes. But again, Marcos Freitas pushed into the middle there to play a slightly more passive shot from the backhand. You have to imagine that's conversation about the over-the-table game, about the short game, about how to handle the spin. Again, bravo to Marcos Freitas for playing high risk, for playing the timing that he is. There's so many different factors that go into this timing, but physical fitness and maintaining balance is a big part of it. If you really want to see success, analyze the people who are succeeding. Top Chinese players have been at the top of the game for a long time on the men's side. Since 2000 was the last year. Sweden beating China. In singles, I guess, Werner Schlager in 2003. On the women's side, Singapore in 2010. But overwhelmingly, China. Chinese players have been the pioneers. Or at least the demonstrators, the enforcers of the pioneered shots and technology, tactics, everything else. It's quite interesting to see the training from physical fitness to multi-ball and everything else that they do in China. Not just Chinese players around the world, but specifically the training in China. Looking down to see what if there was a warning for service toss or if it was simply a ball that hit the top of the net. Both players caught a little bit off guard. Sometimes the players don't see the let, the umpire does. Spinny ball, Marcos Freitas fired up. Hadn't heard a lot of vocalizing from him so far. This time, Xu Xin waits, keeps the wrist back, and plays a safer shot with that ball to the opposite side, cross court. This is, I'd say, the positioning, the depth on the table that's worked so well for Marcos Freitas before. Inside the baseline by a good 2 feet, bit of backspin to make it stay near the back edge. Xu Xin finally found an answer. Freitas is going to have to keep his head here, stay cool. It's tough when you miss a shot like this. The second big point where he had the opening, created the shot down the forehand side and couldn't put it down. Has to remember he's won many points also playing risky shots. Forehand flip back in. When it's not wide to the forehand, it's more central on the table or even on the backhand side. That forehand flip seems more comfortable for both players. Not an easy ball. So cool in slow motion to watch their bodies just glide and float over the table to get in while still maintaining their balance. Such a difficult shot they make look so effortless. Footwork drills pay off for Xu Xin. Look at this, corner to corner, everything with the forehand. We're talking about a player who's got the reverse penhold backhand and doesn't even pull it out to play here. This is Yu Sung Min's style, 2004 Olympic Games. Wow. Not easy to block if Marcos Freitas can't keep it on the table time and time again. The fourth shot. And that's another thing you have to remember. Well, it's important, right? The results, the point is what matters. What gets there, how you win the point. Freitas isn't bad at blocking. He's incredible at blocking. He blocked the first 3 shots from Xu Xin. It was the 4th one. But something's going to have to change. He just can't afford to be losing points. He's going to have to win more than Xu Xin from this point on out by a difference of 2. Soft hands once again. Both sides have had their foot stomps of frustration throughout this match, and it feels a bit seesawed, a bit balanced in terms of who's had the most frustrating moments. Game-wise, Shushin right there, the Cloud Walker in the lead. 3-2. Wants to win it in this game. Oh, surprise, surprise. The table's still there and the ball's got plans to land on it. Shushin goes completely for broke here, risks everything, makes the shot, seemed satisfied for a moment. This should be good enough, right? Oh, there's the, really? The table's that long? Weird. So FREITAS in the lead by 2. Such a difficult shot. Shushin to the middle. We've seen him miss that shot, and earlier I talked about if that comes down, it's going to be so difficult to play. That's the risk. Shushin's going to have to take it, and in many senses, Marcos Freitas is going to hope that Shushin does take that risk, but that the quality of his touch shot is good enough that it favors Freitas. Slow, spinny one. The change of pace causes some trouble for Shushin. That wry smile of disbelief. You got to catch Coach Kong Guoping there, coming down from his quick standing O. Freitas quite late to get the racket up there. Might have thought that the point was over after that ball sat up a little bit. And deceptive serve from the reverse pendulum, and it's 3 game points for Freitas to send this into the deciding game number 7. Oh, the long ball for the long haul. What, let called? Oh, Marcos Freitas' facial expression. Oh, that's a tough one. So tough. I mean, it happens. It's part of the game. Not sure what it was, if it was crossing the net. I pause watching this because we can see Marcos Freitas' face. That's not the face of somebody who's going back to the corner to get ready for game 7. It's the face of somebody who's surprised and a little bit disappointed, to say the least, I guess. But he makes it count, stays focused, comes right back, no problem. This is a true professional. His face before said how he felt without question, but he controls it, and he controls the next point. So once again, grab your healthy snacks, your water, call your friends, whatever you need, because game number 7, the deciders, coming up right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the happiest place on earth, game number 7. Now, in case you're curious how a let could not go noticed when the umpire called it that early in the point, typically an umpire would be on microphone if there was only one match going on. So for tomorrow's matches, they will be on microphone and lets will be immediately recognized. But right now they're still playing on 2 tables. So many entries here. They had to play on 2 tables even during these matches. This is the last game of the match. I'm not sure of too many things, but that one, yes. This match will not go more games than game number 7. Beautiful angle here. Freitas again playing it wide, but he has to keep it discreet. Shushin is called the Cloud Walker for a reason. He's so light on his feet. but he can't tell until the last moment. And the power that FREITAS, I talked about it before, by Chinese standards, FREITAS's backhand is not as strong. All the side spin left on the ball. Xu Xin starting it. Marcos Freitas keeping it on the table for one. But what I said about Marcos Freitas' backhand not being up to the Chinese standard, that's pre-today. For me, watching Marcos Freitas today, his backhand is the best I've seen it. Curious to hear what the top Chinese players think. So the Chole Chu tied up at 2-2. Freitas keeping it even here, taking advantage of his serves. Desire, not just the desire, the need to keep the ball short when you're playing a short push, you're playing a soft shot, as opposed to a decisive long push. Steady rally, the body positioning for me of Marcos Freitas is quite important. And part of that relies on the confidence in his backhand. Watch his stance after this push. Backs off just a little bit in case he needs to turn to take the forehand, but doesn't favor either side too much. Before he played that first backhand, it almost looked the same as a player turning to take a forehand from the middle, but still racket head down plays the backhand. Versatility and agility. Wow. Again, these two players have some of the best touch in the game. They're a handful of players with incredible touch, a few of which are from Germany. Timo Boll, Ricardo Walter. But Freitas, to keep the ball soft, to keep it short from the baseline of the table, really takes confidence and touch. Oh, the footwork, the cloud walker flying through the sky, the loop hooking. He's got that long stroke. He takes the ball later than most. Freitas plays two incredible shots. The big backhand, let's see it. There's one right into the body, and this shot, how can that not finish the point? Because Xu Xin's on the other side. Both sides have shared frustration of foot stomps, a pretty even battle here. If there's a Xu Xin logo, that still shot will be him in the air like we just saw. And now they'll switch sides of the table for an equal amount of time on both halves of the table. Fresh haircut from Wang Hao. That close-up gave me a chance to comment on it. Both players wiping the table. Xu Xin with a little bit of confidence, maybe a little bit of momentum here. Nearly halfway through game number 7. Excellent push. Deep, right to the backhand corner, something we haven't seen in a while. How could Marcos Freitas possibly be expecting that? Where did it come from? This is the importance of changing the patterns. Table tennis fans looking for an incredible match here, clapping on Freitas to come back. I was watching the umpire there, Xu Xin's point. Body language of Marcos Freitas, the biggest indicator there. Every once in a while, the ball catches something, back edge. Something that's not so easy to hear. Well, this is smart play from Xu Xin. This is something he does very well with that backhand. Freitas trying something different here. The flip, instead of going out to the forehand, into the body. Nice change of placement. But Xu Xin didn't move early. He anticipates, and by anticipates, I mean plays patiently, waits to see. He anticipates that Freitas could do something different at the last moment. Sure enough, he was right. 4 points in a row for Xu Xin, at least. Right into the body for Freitas. This is going to be really tough to not be deflated. Some of the best players in the world have been up against Xu Xin. Junmi Zutani, 10-4, twice in his career, and lost. Lin Gaoyuan, 10-5. Being down 4-9 after tied at 4-4 is tough. Oh, no Fan Zhendong here. The attempt for sure. Xu Xin, we don't see him give up. I can't remember the last time I saw him give up. Maybe an exhibition point against Ma Long down 4-10. Comes all the way around the table, attempting to keep that one in play. Inside out forehand. FREITAS, big point here. Break off the top of the net. This is not unachievable. We've seen him come back in 2 games. He was down 1-5 in game number 3. He was way down in game number 2 and managed to take the game. Look how calm he looks. First backhand. Every shot in this rally so smooth for FREITAS. This one a little bit more aggressive. That lean, the shoulder, and the turn of the racket. Timeout for Xu Xin. Had to look down. I was watching the same screen as you, but looking down at the court, saw that there was no playing happening. Wang Hao using his left hand to demonstrate what's coming in from Marcos Freitas. It's funny, it's a subtle detail, but it's quite important. As many table tennis fans know, Wang Hao, a right-handed player. But sometimes, you know, table tennis, very visual. Men also tend to be very visual. But when you're dealing with the geometry of the table and what's coming in, the angles that are being created, imagining it off of the left hand is quite important in the discussion. Many of these players can actually play with their offhand at a decent level, despite their muscle memory not being trained to do it. You might have recently seen Ma Long losing a point to Timo Boll, playing Timo's right hand. Men's World Cup in Liège, Belgium. But back from the timeout, Xu Xin with some words of wisdom and FREITAS with some momentum. Beautiful backhand once again, right down the line. So diffusing the timeout. Now, Jun Mizutani was one player who was able to come back and get revenge on Xu Xin for one of those nightmarish comebacks that Xu Xin has pulled off time and time again. Will Marcos Freitas be able to do the same? Oh, misses the contact on this. He looked like he was caught in indecision. Immediately backs off the table, knows he can go for a counter, but would probably be more comfortable lobbing one first. Does not want to be behind the table that far, but nonetheless, Xu Xin now with 3 match points. Oh, and it's the Cloudwalker who moves on to the quarterfinals. What a performance, a good handshake and a pat on the back. We're seeing a lot more affection out here from the world's top players after the matches, and there's no wonder why. The quality of match is so solid out here. Marcos Freitas really testing Xu Xin in this match, and I think we're going to see a lot more strong performances from Marcos Freitas, but in this tournament, we'll see more of Xu Xin. Again, the quarterfinal matches later on today, and the Cloudwalker walks on. Congratulations, Chinese fans, Xu Xin fans, and table tennis fans. You will get to see some spectacular action later on today. We've got a short break, and then we've got 3 of the women's matches coming up with some really strong players. 7-game extravaganza right there. Stick around, because at 4 o'clock local time, Feng Yalan, who had the shot of the year at the Marvelous 12 switching hands, versus Mima Ito, young up-and-comer from Japan who's in incredible form. Stay right here. You're watching Seamaster 2017 World Tour Platinum German Open.